On today's episode, we're going to be reviewing four events. The first one is the latest Marvelous show that took place back on December 4th, which was involving a one-day tournament for the vacant AAAW Championship, where we had tournament taking place. It also will determine who became the new AAAW champion. We also got more on. Finally, we get to see Joshi Pro Wrestling with their latest event, City Circuit Adam, with the main event being the Eve Championship by Miyu Yamashita taking on Riho. This is the first time a non-Joshi Pro Wrestling title is not on the line, is not part of their promotion, but due to the fact of their working relationship, they're willing to put this on the line. We got more on ChocoPro with three interesting matches that took place. And then finally, we have, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling, where we have who will make it to the finals in World Tag League. We already announced the winners for the finalists for Super Junior Tag League. But, however, who will go to Sendai this coming Wednesday for um, World Tag League? We just have to find out. We also got some news updates to keep up what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling involving matches that are coming up, events, the whole enchilada. We even got some interesting developments in the Unagi Sayaka Watch. An interesting matchup that she was booked in. I think this one you guys will like. And of course, a local podcaster here in my native town of San Diego went to Japan for quite some time, and apparently he conducted an interview with Unagi Sayaka, and I'll explain more about that as well. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, let's begin with Marvelous. This is their latest show that took place on December 4th. This was the one-day tournament only in Corkin Hall. Now, this was announced like not too long ago, about maybe earlier or late last month or early this month. Whereas Takumi Iroha had to relinquish the AAAW Championship due to an injury she obtained. So it was decided they were going to crown a brand new champion. So we had wrestlers from the Marvelous promotion, also freelancers that include Yuna Manaze, Unagi Sayaka, a few others. So that pretty much solves the whole thing. Now, our opening match is a non-tournament matchup. We have a very interesting tag team. We have Yumiko Hota teaming up with Maria, taking on Shigaza, Guza Nagayo, and Riko Kawahara. This was a very interesting matchup. Now, the reason is this: we have I know that if you guys know this, Nagayo is Maria's trainer. She was the one who trained her. And as for Riko Kawahara, her mentor is Yumiko Hota. So basically, it's more of a swap. But Maria and Riko have always been rivals, and of course, an interesting tag team. So that kind of shows who is the strongest. Maria, I know she is a very talented Yoshi wrestler, but she can be a bit more demanding what she wants. Rico, she just is more laid back, but she understands Maria. But in this case, it was, of course, Maria who actually made the upset when she submitted her mentor, Nagayo, with a somewhat of a triangle lancer. I was impressed, and she couldn't even believe it that she pulled it off. basically she kind of beat her own mentor, and I'm like, wow, that was impressive. And she even jumped on top of Riko Kawahara, like, can't believe she did it. So that's pretty good to see. Now our next match is a men's exhibition match. We have Leo Izaka taking on the old man Gamban Jichan. Now Jichan, you know how he is. He's very old. He walks slow. But Leo decided to attack him, being disrespectful. Like they always say, you better respect the elders, but not Leo. But of course, Jichan actually gave him a lesson that he will never forget. But he actually used the cane and gave him a low blow, even though the referee didn't do a thing about it. And he pinned him. So that's to show you don't mess with an old man. Now, we got our first round matches involving the AAAW title. The first one is AI Hosen. She takes on Mio Momono. Now, Hosen is a bit of a wild child. She has this aggression. She attacked Mio right away in order to the advance. But however, in this case, it was Mio Momono who actually picked up the win by a pinfall, allowing her to advance in the tournament. Now, our next match, continuing on with this first round, we have Maria versus Queen Aminata. Now, Maria did mention that she would love to win this title. This is something that she felt that because since she started out in Marvelous, she felt it's her God given duty to protect Marvelous from invaders. But Queen Aminata showed her what she can do. She applied like a somewhat of a beach break type maneuver that allowed her to win and advance into the tournament. Now we jump into the second round tournament. The first one we have is Unagi Sayaka taking on Tomoka Watanabe. This match was hard hitting with pinfall submission. Now you probably would have guessed either Unagi was going to win if you were a fan, but however, it was more like they couldn't even outdo each other in certain aspects. But it ended with a time limit draw with 10 minutes. It did result in a disqualification. Tsunagi and Watanabe did not advance one way or the other. Now, continue on with our uh, with the second round tournaments. Second round, we have Riko Kawahara taking on Rin Kadokura. A pretty good match. I liked it. Um, Rin Kadokura is one of the most impressive wrestlers we've seen so far. One of the proud girls of Marvelous, but she is facing against Riko Kawahara, who is determined to prove herself that she can be part of this promotion. But it was, of course, a dragon suplex by Rin Kadokura that allowed her to win the match and advance further. Now, our final match in the second rounds, we have Yuna Manaze taking on Chikayo Nagashima. I thought this match was pretty good. It was the battle of the veterans, but in this case, it was Nagashima who pulled an armbar maneuver type onto Yuna Manaze, and of course, there was no escape for Yuna Manaze, so she had no other choice but the tap. Now, our next and final match of the second round, we have Mio Momono taking on Queen Aminata. Now, Queen Aminata has shown she can be far superior, but Mio Momono basically showed that she could actually hang in this particular match. And she pulled off a really good win when she applied a somewhat of a landslide on her and apparently advances further, all the way to the finals. However, we have the semifinals with two matches. We have Rin Kadokura taking on Chikayo um, Nagashima. Another good match. I would have thought maybe Rin Kadokura would have won it for a few reasons. One, she's always been like someone who's been like the right hand of Takumi, but also someone who should be carrying that title in her place, as you know, to keep it stay in the Marvelous brand. But however, that did not happen. Nagashima was the one who applied it when she applied like a somewhat of a Goldberg type maneuver. I forgot what that move that he does when he's lifting up the person, and I think I don't know exactly what he called it, but that's how she won the match and proceed to the finals. So it became Nagashima and Mio Momono in the finals. This was very interesting. I think it was a pretty good match. The finals was great, but in this case, it was the same repeated maneuver by Nagashima to in order to beat Mio Momono and become our brand new AAAW champion. And she's proud of it. She won it all the way through. But however, that doesn't end there. Queen Aminata comes out and Ish became the first challenger, the challenge Queen Nagashima for this title. I think that match will happen soon, I believe, on the 15th of December. I think that's pretty much that day. If I'm wrong, then I'll slap myself in the back of the head for that. And I think that's pretty much it with Marvelous. That one you can actually see that right now. It's already been uploaded on the watchprowrestling.org. Check it out. Right now, let's move on to Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. Okay, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. This is for the City Circuit Autumn Show. This took place recently on the 10th of December. It's been a while since I did a Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling event. Now I can to review one. Now this is the much recent one that took place this past Saturday. Our opening match, we have Kaya Toribami taking on Zuzumi. Zuzumi always impresses me every single time. She has grown so much for this past year, and I feel that in no time she could pick up a championship win when the timing's right. But she has to deal with Kaya Toribami. But she pulled off her famous move, Be Surprised, and boom, 1, 2, 3, she wins the match. Next up, we have Mahito Kiru taking on the resident superhero Hyper Misawa. Now you know how Hyper Misawa is. Even though she's a superhero, she likes to cut corners in every aspect, like to piss people off in certain ways. But in this case, it almost could have worked. But I would like to see Mahiro pick up a very impressive win against, of course, Kiru, but it did not against Misawa. But it was Misawa with a somewhat of a rabbit hole type maneuver onto Kiru to pick up the win. So it ended in that fashion. Now, our next match, we have Haruna Neko taking on Hikari Noah. As always, I love Hikari Noah. She shows the bit of the aggressiveness. She's always been amazing, despite the fact that she's like a different type of breed within the up girls. Um, she never ceases to amaze me, but she picked up a good win by applying the Blizzard suplex onto Neko, and 1, 2, 3, it is done. Now, our next match, we have, of course, tag team action. We got Pam Harajuku and Raku taking on the Magical Sugar Rabbits. Now, um, this would have been a good match. It would be a good upset if Raku or Pam would have won. The reason is this: Magical Sugar Rabbits have been multiple time as a tag team champions, and you know that would be a good thing for both Raku and Pam Harajuku. But in this case, it did not fell down in every way. Not even Raku could apply her lullabies onto both of them because they've been avoiding it. But it was, of course, a combination of both Mizuki and Yuka Sakazaki that finished off when Yuka Sakazaki flied off for the magical roll fly, and boom, she pinned. I think she pinned Palm. I think, yeah, she pinned Palm. 1, 2, 3, it was done. Next match, we have Arisu Endo, Yuki Inoi, and Shoko Nakajima taking on Moka Miyamoto and Akichumu, consistent of Miyu Watanabe, our current International Princess Champion, and of course Rika Tatsumi. I have to say this match was very good in every way. The reason is this: I've seen, of course, Arisu Endo has grown so much at the same time as Zuzumi, and wow, she really was impressive in this match. Many people probably would assume maybe Lisu Endo and Suzumi should have another opportunity for the tag titles. And I think that's a good thing for them. But I have to say that. But as for Yuki Inoi, we know she stepped out as tag team specialist since her blood sister, Nodoka Temna, retired. But she's always been impressive with her strength and all that. And as for, of course, Shoko Nakajima, a former Princess of Princess Champion, you know what she does. It, but it was, of course, in this case, the teardrop by Miyu Watanabe onto Arisu Endo sealed the deal for her team to pick up the win. Now, our next match is our main event. Is the Eve Championship from the promotion Pro Wrestling Eve out in the UK, the all-female promotion. We have Riho challenging for the title against Miyu Yamashita. I have to say, a very good match, very determination. You can tell by Riho she was determined to win this title at any cost, but it did not work out until she got a spinning heel kick by Miyu Yamashita in order to retain the title. So you can say this title may not be recognized as part of the promotion, but you can tell that Miyu Yamashita is one of the best Joshi wrestlers we have seen in a long time. She is considered the ace of Tokyo Pro Wrestling, and that's why she is the champ. So I think that's pretty much it with ChocoPro. I mean, with Tokyo Pro. Let's move on with ChocoPro. Okay, ChocoPro 275, I believe, opened up with tag team action. We have Chon Chidu teaming up with the returning of Sebastian DeWitt. I have to say, DeWitt, I think. Uh, they take on against the current Asian Dream Tag Team Champions, CDK, Masahiro Takanashi, and Chris Brooks. Now, key thing in this match, if either Dwight or Chon pick up a victory in this match, they could have an opportunity for a tag team title shot. And that is something they could put in their back pocket. But however, they have to get through a very aggressive team like CDK. As you know, they've been dominant since winning those titles from the Best Bros, and I think that's the one thing. But there were once again we saw in this match Sebastian pulled off that amazing submission that he applied on to Masahiro the day before, but however it was broken up thanks to Masa. He applied it on Chris Brooks, but in this case, um, every move and maneuver they could have won it. It could have gone in either way, but in this case, it was a double pinfall by a combination between with CDK that allowed them to win the match, and of course, making sure that no one becomes their next tag team champions uh, challengers. So I think that's pretty much for that match. Let's move on to the next. We have singles action. We got Sawadi Kamen taking on Sayaka Obihiro. I thought this match was pretty good because we know Sayaka Obihiro has um, shown a lot of what she can do in the ring, even as a singles competitor. We know she rarely wins certain matches, but she is a very capable and fun wrestler. But in this case, um, she has pulled something out of a hat. But in this case, it did not happen due to the fact that Sawade Kamen pulled off a crossfade and she pulled Sayako Obihiro further to the back and forcing her to tap out. Now, our next and main event, we have tag team action. We have Chiko Shikawa teaming up with Mei Shiruga to take on Black Komanagi, consisting of Antonio Honda and Tokiko Kihara. We know that Mei has dealt with this team many times over, but she always becomes successful when it comes with her best bro. But this time, this is a different team that she's in with Chi. We don't know how this was going to turn. I have to say it was another good match because it showed that Mei and Chi can coexist despite the fact that they're rivals. But however, Black Komachi has been trying to determine to become the next challengers for the tag team titles. We know that Antonio Honda has been pursuing that for a while, but in this case, it was a diving body splash from both Tokiko and Antonio that pulled off the win onto Chiko Shikawa to pick up the win. Now, for our Junkin tournament. This was a very difficult one for me to try to determine. There were many others, but the one thing that was very standout is, of course, um, Chiko Shikawa pulled it off. Now she felt disappointed for losing against, of course, Black Kamanachi, but she got her little bit of redemption in the finals towards Antonio Honda, and of course taking the chocolate. So I either say she may have lost the match, but at least she won the Jonkin tournament. And I thought, and I think that was pretty interesting, and I think it's well deserved. I think that's pretty much it with ChocoPro. I believe it's time for New Japan. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is the last event where we have before we get to Sendai. This is where we determine who will make it to the finals in World Tag League. We already announced who will be making to the finals in Super Junior Tag League. We already have, of course, Chaos consisting of Leo Rush versus the Bullet Club, Ace Austin, and Chris Bay. But who will walk out in this particular match? Now, to put this on record, um, Aussie Open were at the top of the game. Basically, they were at 14 points, so that allowed them to hopefully it stays that way for them, not to be overthrown. Now, let's start with the bottom. Gabriel Kidd and Alex Coughlin taking on Suzuki Goons, Minoru Suzuki, and Lance Archer. Now, I don't know what Gabriel Kidd was thinking. Now, you know Minoru Suzuki and Lance Archer, they don't play by the rules on certain levels. But, however, it looks like that Kidd, who was being a bit obnoxious, decided that he wants to take things a little further. Take the fight in outside the ring, maybe thinking that it would give them the edge to win, but no, it did not do any good for them. But it was Lance Archer who, in fact, ended this match with the Black Holes blackout, giving them the win. However, let's review a little bit of the points they have. Let me pull it up. Here's what we got. They currently have they ended the World Tag League for them with 8 points, with 4 wins and 5 losses. But as for Conklin, just 2 points, which is 1 win and 8 losses. So basically, they had no chance in hell to make it through. No chance. No chance in hell. Now, our next match, we have the United Empire, the Great Khan, and Aaron Hanare taking on Bebop tag team consisting of Toru Yano and Hiroshi Tanahashi. I thought this match was pretty good. I thought in this way it would have been Bebop to win, but as you know, there was a lot of variables. The United Empire determined to make it through because they want to prove once and for all that they are the ones that run the world. That's always been their game. But of course, uh, Yano has to pull up some tricks up his sleeves, but it did not happen. But it was a combination of the by both Hinare and Khan on Yano that allowed them to win. But Hinare did mention at the end of the match that he feels that Tanahashi's time is done, that it's his time. But we'll see what happens because Tanahashi is nowhere, doesn't feel like he's going to slow down one way or the other. But in this in this case, um, Hinare, um, Hinare, Hinare and Khan finished their tournament with 10 points with 5 wins and 4 losses. But however, they were nowhere near to make it to the finals like they hoped for, but it did not. But as for Tanahashi and Yano, they finished with 8 points with 4 wins and 5 losses. Now, our next match, we have the House of Torture, Yujiro and Evil, taking on LIJ's Sanada and Tetsuya Naito. Now, you know how this will turn out. Now, when things were going exactly LIJ's way, effing Show turned off the lights and showed up. You know Dick Togo and Show were going to help out. But apparently things would have gone their way if it wasn't for the interference of Dick Togo. And of course, later seeing that Show low blowed Sonata in order for Yujiro to pick up the win by applying the pimp juice, giving them the win. But however, Naito's chances to head to Wrestle Kingdom just went away with losing the match. However, this match ended the tournament for both Tetsuya and Naito ended with 12 points with 6 wins and 3 losses. If they would have won this match, they could have had a chance, but no. As for House of Torture, they only ended with 6 points with 3 wins and 6 losses. However, they have no chance in winning. But you know how evil is. Since turning his back on Naito, he will do anything in his power to ensure he stays down, doesn't go to the top. But however, because of this match, it did allow to ensure that Aussie Open are in the finals. But in this retrospective, they in this match and the following match, they were outside in the ringside, keeping a close eye who was going to walk out as the winner. Now our next match we have TMDK, Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols taking on last year's winners, Bushiman, Bushiman, consistent of Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto. As you know, these guys were last year's winners, but it was a good match. Things could have fallen into favor by TMDK, but however, it was the Shoto onto Nichols that allowed them for Bishiman to pick up the win, ended with 14 points, leaving them to win with 7 wins and 2 losses. But TMDK stayed at 12 with 6 wins and 3 losses. But however, during the post match, we have, of course, Aussie Open comes out trying to tell them that this is their time, that they're the ones who are going to win. However, Bushiman knows that things could go different in either way how it's going to be. But they're not jumping in overconfident like the Aussie Open is at the point. But we will see. So we now know in the finals it's going to be Aussie Open versus Bishamon. It's going to be interesting. That will be in Sendai. Now, before I go, I must warn everybody, keep an eye on what's going to happen in Sendai. It appears that Minoru Suzuki has something planned. You'll be watching out for that, but we'll see. And I think that's pretty much it. I believe let's move on with some news updates. Okay, so here are some news updates. Now, we've been hearing this for quite some time recently about Sasha Banks. It appears that they're saying now that she is done with WWE and looks more likely that she is a free agent. Now, I know some of you WWE loyalists are going to have a hard time believing that. I know anything could happen, but we will find out soon enough when we get to January. Now, keep in mind, sometimes we don't know if it's 100% true or not. This was coming from Dave Meltzer saying that she most likely could be done, and the obvious question is, where will she go? Now, we know that Stardom or New Japan could not afford her because we know that recently with her negotiation, she has a much higher pay than every other superstar we know. But if she was planning on probably going to Stardom, he believes that AAW will be that one particular promotion that can do it. That would be interesting, but we just gotta wait and see. Now for our GCW updates here, 2 things have come across for their Don't Talk to Me on the 20th of January. In Charlotte, Ricky Morton make his return. The rock and roll legend comes back, so I'm looking forward to that. But also announced the following day for the Huntsville event, take a picture. Adam Priest makes his debut. If you guys never seen him, he made various appearances in AEW Dark or Elevation and a few other promotions. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, Wrestling Revolver have 2 different updates for 2 different events. The first one is coming on the 2nd of February, a night at the Moxbury. This is a brand new show that was announced. It will be hosted by none other than John Moxley, since the show is called A Night at the Moxbury. Very catchy. However, on that particular day, it was announced that we're going to have Trey Miguel. We don't know what's going to happen. As you know, he got screwed after winning the Revolver Championship, but Steve Macklin cashing his golden ticket kind of set things on fire. Now, for the upcoming show in March on March 4th, for Drip, that's the name of the title, it was announced that Johnny Revolver, or as we know him, Johnny Multiple, and his wife Taya Valkyrie, along with the Bullet Club members Ace Austin and Chris Bay, will be making their return. Garden State Pro has announced for their upcoming event next month, which will bring back many wrestlers. It was announced that for the Duality show on the 15th of January, we're going to have Brian Keith, the bounty hunter, taking on One Called Manders. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a very killer match. Now, this promotion I have reviewed maybe on one or two times. I now had a little statement to put out on their Twitter page, and apparently they're going to go on hiatus. And this is what they initially said today. So, our inception in 2013, On Point Wrestling has prided itself on being a place where newcomers to showcase their skills and ring veterans can stay in the game. Part of that pride is feeling running at the top level, producing the best possible live shows, live events for you, the fans. It's no secret that the past couple of years has been numerous obstacles. Excuse me, obstacles that have hindered many, including a lot of goes into running an event that's up to the standards. We would rather run right as opposed to running show to be another date at the calendar, but we take pride of what we have accomplished in the past 10 years and don't want to tarnish that. Right now, On Point Wrestling is going on a hiatus. That is not a farewell. We it's see you later. We will continue to assess things in 2023, and when the time seems right for a return, we'll make the announcement. In the interim, please check out our past events compilations for Smart Mark Video and IWTV. This is the best way to support OPW during our break. We look forward to seeing you again in the future. Best wishes to all of you for a happy holiday season and joyous new year. Any questions you may have, answered by Jeffrey Kane. So this promotion, I've seen this promotion at least once or twice. Pretty good, but I can tell what they were talking about, that things have not been going so well these past couple of years. It's understandable. So they're saying they're going to be taking a break for a little while until things are gone back, but they will make the announcement when they'll be returning. Now, our final update we have is from Noah. It appears that one of their stars, Manabu Soya, is on his way to All Japan Pro Wrestling on Christmas Day to challenge his tag team partner, Takao Mori. That's going to be a very interesting match. So I'm looking forward to that too. And I think that's pretty much it for our news updates. I believe it's time for the Unagi Sayaka Watch. Okay, welcome to the Unagi Sayaka Watch. Here are some developments that have been going on with her. One of them has been announced for this coming on the 15th of December In Marvelous at Shinkiba, it was announced for one of their matches. Unagi will be involved in a tag match. She'll be teaming up with her allied Rina Amikura. Now, if you guys remember clearly, the Cosmic Angels and Colors are allies. The last time that Rina Mikura and Unagi teamed up is in that 8-person tag match in New Blood, where they face members of Oda Tai and Aruka Umasaki. It was very interesting. I remember there was a tweet where, of course, Unagi did state that she enjoyed having a piggyback ride by Rina Mikura, and of course, she said that she can't wait to do it again. I wouldn't be surprised, but their opponents is none other than Rin Kodokura and AI Hausen. I wouldn't be surprised about this match. As you know, there was recent developments between Hosen and Unagi. I don't know if we're gonna see a somewhat of a repeat what we saw with Just Tap Out. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Now, I did mention previously about an interview um, that Fightful Select had completely with Unagi. Now we have another one, but this one is coming from a local guy from here from San Diego named Eric Howard. Eric Howard ran Yoshi a podcast called the Yoshi Pod, where he talks nothing about just Yoshi wrestling. Um, Recently, he just went to Japan and attended various shows other than Stardom. Like he did saw Marvelous, At Risk Girls, Diana. He did actually did an interview with Unagi Sayaka at his time, and he did stated that someone named on Twitter called X Corn Muffin X um, actually did the translation for him to when he was talking to Unagi Sayaka, interviewing her. He did state it on Twitter that that particular interview will be dropped this week. Um, if you guys are interested in his podcast, check out the Yoshi Pod. That's what it's. That's the name of it. The Yoshi Pod. Um, so check it out when it comes in. I will be announcing when that interview will be alerted. I'll put that as the Unagi Sayaka Watch alert, but you know how that goes. And finally, this one I kind of forgot it was part of this, but uh, as you all know, Unagi Sayaka made an appearance with Pro Wrestling Zero. It was announced that she will be participating in the next Pro Wrestling Zero 01 on the 16th of December. Uh, I'm not sure if her opponent will be Aja Kong. I know she's been trying to get a match with her, but we just gotta wait and see because I'm kind of looking forward to see how she's been progressing as a freelancer since she stepped in. I know many of you who are Nagi Sayaka fans are having a hard time trying to see what she's been doing since she stepped out of Stardom to go freelancing. And I'm doing this for you guys because I know for a fact it's difficult, but I've been following her during on Twitter. That way I keep up for you guys what's been going on. So if you guys have any questions involving Unagi, if there's anything that you guys need to know, just leave a comment down below. And I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we still got more AAW Dark Elevation. I'm not sure if there's any other events I'm going to be reviewing from past events, but we will find out soon enough. I'll just wing it for tomorrow on Monday. So I think that's pretty much it right now. So I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.